Tuesday, 15 February, the Gap News this morning, podcasting live from Kuala Lumpur. I'm Ghazali Abdullah. First, the headlines. COVID-19 cases still on the rise with 21,315 infections. Philippines now recognizes Malaysia's COVID-19 vaccination cert. Welfare Department to care for single mums, 3 children till court hearing. Hong Kong leader says city overwhelmed by Omicron wave. Russian invasion fears grow as foreigners flee Ukraine. And Rams beat Bengals in thriller to win Super Bowl on home turf. And now the news in full. The 5-digit daily COVID-19 caseload for Malaysia continues with the country logging 21,315 cases, bringing the cumulative total to 3,061,550. Of yesterday's cases, 21,228, representing 99.59%, are in categories 1 and 2, 6,200 in category 1, and 15,028 in category 2. Health Director General Tan Sri Dr. Nur Hisham Abdullah said 87 cases are in the more severe categories. Category 3, 48 cases, Category 4, 23 cases, and 16 infections in Category 5. The Philippines has given recognition to COVID-19 vaccination certificates by Malaysia and Ireland at the recommendation of its foreign ministry. The Philippines COVID-19 Management Task Force approved the recommendation, which also covers arrival quarantine protocols. Cabinet Secretary Carlo Nograles said, according to a Philippines news agency report. Nograles, who's also the acting presidential spokesman, said the Quarantine Bureau, the Immigration Bureau, and the Transport Department had been told to recognize the proof of vaccinations from the two countries. It was reported earlier yesterday that 13 Malaysians were stranded at Manila's Ninoy Aquino International Airport after the Philippines authorities refused to recognize their digital COVID-19 vaccination credentials. However, the Foreign Ministry in Kuala Lumpur later said only 7 people were stranded and not 13 as reported. The travellers were refused entry and told that the Malaysian digital vaccination certificate in the MySejahtera mobile application was not acceptable proof of vaccination. The travellers reportedly had their passports confiscated and were told that they would be deported. They also had to remain at the airport because no hotel facilities were provided. The children of a divorcee who were allegedly under the care of religious authorities in Perlis have been placed with the Welfare Department JKM, an NGO said. Assistant Chef Lo Siu Hong's 3 children will now be staying at Rumah Taman Sinar Harapan, a JKM facility in Jitra, Kedah. In a statement shared today by the Malaysian Tamila Kural group that has been assisting her, Lo decided to let the children be under JKM's care while she waits for her habeas corpus application filed at the Kuala Lumpur High Court yesterday to be heard on February 21st. Earlier yesterday, she was temporarily reunited with her children, but decided to hand them back to JKM, claiming that they were clearly distressed and traumatized by the ordeal. Hong Kong's health facilities have been overloaded by an onslaught of COVID-19 infections, its leader said, as a rise in Omicron cases threatens to bring down the city's zero COVID-19 policy. Authorities have adhered to mainland China's policy of stamping out the smallest outbreak with mass quarantine, widespread tracking, and prolonged social distancing measures since the start of the pandemic. But the extremely contagious Omicron variant breached the Chinese territory's defenses in late December, piling up more than 8,000 infections in a few weeks, with researchers warning that daily cases could exceed 25,000 by next month. While the infection rate remains low compared to major cities around the world, Hong Kong's policy of sending even asymptomatic cases to hospitals and quarantine facilities has filled up beds and amplified wait times. More than a dozen countries, including the United Kingdom and the United States, have urged their citizens to leave Ukraine amid warnings of an imminent invasion by Russia. Russia denies plans to invade, despite massing 100,000 soldiers on Ukraine's borders. German Chancellor Olaf Scholz is set to meet Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky in Kiev later, as part of efforts to defuse tension. UK Armed Forces Minister James Heappey said there are still opportunities to let diplomacy win through, but warns the threat from Russia is real. Russia wants assurances Ukraine will never be allowed to join NATO, but the alliance's members have opposed this. Ukraine's ambassador in London says the country will not drop the ambition to join NATO, as it is enshrined in its constitution. And now for some sports news. The hometown Los Angeles Rams came from behind to beat the Cincinnati Bengals 23-20 in a thrilling Super Bowl on Sunday, claiming the franchise's first championship since returning to Los Angeles and its second overall. With the victory, the Rams, whose last NFL title came 22 years ago when they were based in St. Louis, joined last year's Tampa Bay Buccaneers as the only teams to win a Super Bowl on their home field. To end the bulletin, here are the headlines again. COVID-19 cases still on the rise with 21,315 infections. Philippines now recognizes Malaysia's COVID-19 vaccination cert. Welfare Department to care for single mom's 3 children till court hearing. Hong Kong leader says city overwhelmed by Omicron wave. Russian invasion fears grow as foreigners flee Ukraine. Rams beat Bengals in thriller to win Super Bowl on home turf. This has been the Gap News this morning, Tuesday, 15 February. Podcasting live from Kuala Lumpur, I'm Ghazali Abdullah.